the other day with fucking
Well, there he goes. You know, I mean, he's going. We dropped our first F-bomb, and there's going to be a few of them in the episode, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Guys, it's a hobby with Cage. Road to the National. And if you see the title there, it's Road to the National with Mr. Minty. And, you know, we were talking backstage for a couple minutes, and, you know, we got into everything from Don Mattingly to the Beastie Boys and Run DMC and everything in between. So this should be a fun one. I'm excited to talk to Mr. Minty about the National and you know, what he's looking for there, what he hopes to get out of it, you know, why the National is the National and there's nothing else like it. But then I want to talk about, talk about being in the crosshairs. Talk about this being a good time to talk about what are we doing with the cards? What are we doing? Are we touching them? Are we cleaning them? Are we charging extra money? Is PSA here to eat your lunch? It's going to be an interesting little fun thing after we talk about the National. Without further ado, my 1 minute intro. Mr. Minty, welcome.
How's it?
It is good. So I will start off by this. I asked you this once, and I'm just going to put you right on the spot. I told you that the first 10 minutes we're just going to talk about the National. I completely lied. That was just to get you guard down and, you know, make you think they're going to be easy. I put a steel cage match together, and it's just you and Kurt. And the two of you are in a cage, and you got to fight to the death. You can bring your spray with you. He can bring his spray with you. Who walks out alive and why?
Man,
you spray him in the eye with your spray.
I've met him. He's a really nice guy, but he had a good grip. You know, I think he might have that hidden strength. You know, might be a little, maybe some of the chemicals might make him stronger. I don't know.
See, I'm going to say, as part of my Road to the National suggestion box, the National should figure out a way to do that. Now, you don't actually have to fight, but maybe we should have.
He's a really nice guy. We've met before, so like
I've chatted with him also. But maybe we do like a Pepsi challenge instead. Maybe we have like, you know, we find two cards similarly, you know, kind of jacked up, or maybe we rub some, you know, some Sharpie or so. I don't know what the hell you do to a card, and we give you guys both the same kind of card, and you each go at it with your, you know, your sprays and your techniques, and then we get them graded and see which one gets graded higher after.
Yeah, that's going to be tough though, because we for about a year we've gone substance free, so that's going to be tough for us. So
I don't know if I believe you. Sammy Sosa said he went substance free for a little while there too, so did A-Rod, and we saw how that worked out. All right, so without further ado, the National. We'll talk about your business in a second, but when you go to the National, what kind of cards are you looking for? Who are you buying? What are you picking up? Or, you know, when you walk the floor, what is it that like stops you at a table and you go, okay, that's what I'm looking for?
Yeah. I love seeing Star Basketball. Big Star Basketball fan.
Jordan's XRC, not his rookie.
It's his rookie. I will live to the grave with that one. I love, you know, anything Don Mattingly, especially, you know, Don Mattingly rookies, surf cards, you know, being in the surf industry for about 8 years, you know, if I can find some really cool vintage or, you know, 80s surf cards of like Kelly Slater or Ron Machado, you know, or Duke, you know, I'll scoop those up as well.
What do they have of those? Like Sports Illustrated for kids kind of stuff? Or do they have like, you know, like they have like a set of surfing cards?
Yeah. So my favorite set is Astro Boys. It's from 87. So it's Kelly's first card when he was 14.
Wow.
It's a hyper rare. It's amazing. But yeah, they have pro cards from these World Tour. You know, the Astro Boys set has a lot of, you know, historical you know, surfers in it as well, which is super, super cool. Yeah, there's just a lot of fun stuff out there.
What about cards from Point Break the movie? Did they ever make those? Do those count, or that's not really?
I mean, that'd be pretty cool. Cool.
How about Surf's Up, the Penguin movie? No,
I didn't see that one.
You got to see it. Come on, it's Surfing Penguin.
I've got a 4-year-old daughter. I should go see it now.
Look what we just did. That's awesome. That's a pretty eclectic kind of vibe here. Don Mattingly and you know, Kelly Slater. I like it.
That and I've got a pretty impressive Lamine Yamal collection.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the best Lamine you got right now? Come on.
I own 3, and they're his select gold autos out of 10. I own 3 of the 10.
Wow. Look at this guy. Good for you.
Thank you.
I hope he turns out to be the next Ronaldo instead of the next Freddie Adu.
I remember Freddie Adu. Or Kobe Jones.
Yeah, Kobe Jones. I mean, listen, we can go through the whole myriad of names that people have tried to buy the last 10 years and just haven't really panned out. Mason Greenwood comes to mind, but he didn't pan out for a different reason. I remember buying his Topps Now cards.
Nice.
That was bad for a bunch of reasons. Who buys Topps Now anyway? All right, if you could do 1, you could do 2, you can take this any way you want. But for the National itself, what excites you the most about going to the National? About, is it preparing for it? Is it, the people are going to see? Like, what is it that gets you excited about the National coming up?
So it's all about the friendships and just hanging out. That's hands down the best part.
I mean, is anybody you hide from instead? I mean, if I keep putting you in a steel cage with Kirk, you're gonna have to hide from him. Eventually.
No, even him, I'd say hello. But there's nobody to hide from. It's always good vibes. There's always great people, and it's just catching up with people. And the best part is seeing clients and collectors that I've worked with, via email or Instagram, but meeting them in face to face in reality is super cool. It's really gratifying.
Tough to get a table there 1 year, I'm sure, in the not so future.
I can't get a table. I try to pull all the cards, but there's such high demands for tables, and they're Al and the team, they're doing their best to have a nice balance of the veteran dealers that have priority, and all the new dealers that have the inventory that collectors are looking for.
Eventually, maybe next year you get a table. So obviously you've been. I got fingers crossed for you. You've been to National. You went to last year. You went to Cleveland.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This year, Chicago, Rosemont. Why is this year going to be better than last year? Why is National for you or for everybody who's going to be going? It's going to be bigger.
You got Gibson Steakhouse right across. Phenomenal. That in itself is fantastic.
True. It's definitely true.
I think it just brings a lot more cards. It's a little more central. A lot more Jordan cards will be there. I think it's a bigger space and attracts more people. I think the energy is better.
I mean, listen, I will ask this question of all the Road to the National folks, but most of the people go as collectors, and you get, the question really just to get you prepping on it is, how do you prepare for the National? What are some tips, right, that you give to somebody who's going out to the National? And, from the collector's standpoint, or people who are first timers, you always hear the same thing: comfortable shoes and wear, get a charger and, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to ask you kind of a little different way, right?
Sure.
Do you have any advice for, for a business that, is going there maybe for the first time, how to prep for it? Maybe someone who has a table, maybe someone who doesn't have a table, but still wants to go and, be excited for the National, walk the floor, still be a part of the awesomeness that is the National. Any ideas for those guys?
Yeah. Bring some sort of recording device, it's really cool. You're going to want to document it. You're going to want to share it and post it. I think, sharing that story and the experience and documenting it is really, really important. And there's lots of tools and recording devices that you can use. And if you don't have any of them, use your iPhone. And then just also, customer follow-up. It's there's so many people you're going to meet, but you want to make sure you can capture names and emails or telephone numbers and actually follow up with the people that you meet. It's really important for building business.
Does it from a collector, I get overwhelmed. I walk in and I'm like, how the hell am I going to do this? And then I have a plan, but it never really pans out. I wind up going the same path 4 times and never going to this one. And, I had an idea of going this and making the rounds, but I wind up passing the same, table 14 times. You got that from a business standpoint, people you can't meet or the meetings you can't have, anything like that? Or you game plan it and figure it out?
Totally. It's if you're at a table, it's a really hard because you can't move around a lot and you don't want to leave your table. So you're not really going to see much of the show except for like if an hour before the show and an hour and after the show. If you're but this is 2025. You don't need a table to conduct business. You can go around, you can still network, you can still do deals table to table. You can participate in arbitrage. There's so many things that you can do without a table. And
Right.
it's
Like you said, there are probably kids walking around with Zion cases transacting 7 figures worth of business and they don't have a table. That said, if a table is available, please offer him one. He will take it. And if he doesn't, I'll take it. I don't care.
They're a hot commodity. They're a hot commodity. But I think
I don't even have a card to sell. I'll take the table. I'll just, I'll lay down on it like this. Come meet Cage.
Yeah. I think we're going to see, and I think after this show, we're going to see a nice transition of newness. That's the I think that's on the top of mind for the new directors of the National. It does take some time to kind of flush things out, but I think it's top of mind. I think they understand the current state of the hobby.
All right. Well, I mean, listen, tell me about Mr. Minty. There are probably people who are going to see this and be like, what the hell is this guy? Yeah. Minty. I mean, like, I see the green stuff behind. Is it like mint?
Smells so good.
I mean, probably a bunch of people have listened for 11 minutes and are like, this is genius. I go to shows all the time and everybody has bad breath. This guy's giving out mints to the hobby. And, people need it, because they're not going to brush their teeth. So that's not what you were about. Tell people what Mr. Minty is, please.
Yeah. So we're pioneers of the grade prep category. Grading is such an important part of the hobby, and it's here to stay, but it's expensive and you got to get it right. And it ties up your time, your money, and your asset. So we provide fantastic products with branded Mr. Minty, and also client services, and as far as grade prep, evaluation, submission, and liquidity. So we are what separates us from some of the other grade prep or cleaning product lines is we're 100% substance free. So there's no polish, there's no sprays or waxes, there's no altering tools, just great products for collectors, from our submission kit, magnifiers, light wands, microfiber wipes, and so on and so forth. Just a bunch of great products that collectors need for the most important part of the hobby, which is it worth it to grade this card? Like, it's the number one question in the hobby. Is my card worth it? And we have the products and services to help answer that question.
Right. And make it worth it when sometimes it otherwise would not be worth it. So here's my fun one, because it's the topic du jour, with surveys abound being asked all over the place. I got a lot of comments on a post I made today, and it was like, it's one thing to wipe a card down, but if your card has scratches on it, the only way to get rid of those scratches is to put a substance on the card. Is that correct?
Listen, a scratch can be permanent. Sometimes it's on the surface, but sometimes it's permanent. Did you actually? Sometimes it's not. Did you actually get that survey?
I did.
You did? Okay, cool. I didn't know if it was just only Neo who got it.
No, I got the survey.
Okay, cool.
100%. It was a long ass survey.
Yeah.
There were a lot of things in it. There were a lot of things in the survey.
Yeah. I think to most people that card cleaning option really stuck out, and I think it filled its purpose of just kind of causing like a razz, just getting everybody riled up.
Well, I mean, I ask you, right? Because what they're offering is sort of like, offering that what they put out there as sort of a discussion point, which may never happen, right? Is would you pay for removing a fingerprints? But then it talked about maybe getting rid of a scratch.
Yeah, which
doesn't necessarily mean a substance being added, right? Does it?
I saw right through that man. I think, in my personal opinion, I don't think PSA would ever want that liability of, Nat and his team have done such a good job of just hacking the entire company, making them really efficient and fast. They've moved some of the greater elements to the photography stage, like measuring size. They can do that via AI in the initial photography stage. I just can't see them adding any more time or touches into their process,
Right.
for starters. But also, like, they get enough complaints of, oh, PSA messed up my card, like I can't see, by adding that type of service where they may do anything to a card, it would just open up the doors for comments like that. And I just can't see them adding that on, let alone any liability for damage.
You know what's funny in what you do, you call it prep, right? A lot of other folks would say, if they were dumbing it down and trying to be honest, they would say, my job is to maybe get you a 10 on a card that otherwise would have been a 9.
Yeah. I mean, we provide consulting services. So like anybody that sends me cards, they're getting real-time evaluation, all 4 subgrades, card grade, autograph grade, who to grade with, so that, the worst thing we can do as a hobby is have people so excited to grade and then get sent back a bunch of 7s and 6s, and lose their shirt. So I'm here to make sure that collectors send in, the best cards for grading that's going to, achieve their goals.
So it's funny. I ask it because you talk about PSA and the touch points and the whole deal, and you'd think that people in the business of kind of, trying to bump grades or trying to improve and you name it, might not hold PSA in such a high regard. But let me get this one out. You ready? Because they're always like, oh, it's subjective. And, you got a 9, just send it in again and it'll be a 10. And I was at your table at FanFest last year. And I remember a woman coming over and giving you an SGC 10 and saying, hey, can you take a look at this? I want to crack it out. I want you to look at it. And I want to submit it for a PSA 10. And you said, listen, you said, I'll look at it 100%, but I don't want to crack it out unless I see something on the surface of the card, unless I see like that I can really clean up the whole 9 yards. Says you want to submit it to PSA because PSA was there, right? Yeah. And you said to her, PSA is basically the top of the class for grading. They are the ones that know what they're doing. They're the ones that kind of grade what they're doing. I would never try to cross this card to a PSA because you are not going to get a 10. Like, you were very honest. You said, I'm just going to get a 9.
Yeah. SGC holders put pressure on like some of the edges, and there were some indents in that card from the SGC holder.
So, I mean, it was funny to see it because I walked away with, you didn't take her money. Like, you didn't crack it out. You could have cracked it out and said, go ahead and submit it. And if she got a PSA 9, so be it. You know what I mean? You got paid, and, you always have I don't know what PSA is doing over there. But instead, someone came to your table ready to give you money, and you gave them advice instead, which I think was the right advice. You know what I mean?
Appreciate it. That's what the hobby was missing, right? Like true service. Like, yes, the grading companies are a service, but everybody else is just trying to sell you something. And there's a lot of collectors, whether they're new or a novice collector or a super experienced dealer, right? Like they want to know for sure, or like they may not have they may have experience selling, but they might not understand card condition very well. Yep. So it's there's a lot of we're here to help the hobby.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there are pros for everything. My dad used to say, sometimes it's not knowing how to do it. Sometimes it's knowing how to do it, but also having the right tool. And what's funny about that is at the same show, I brought you a card. There was a scratch in it. You're like, this scratch is not coming out. Like, do not, I can buff it. I can make it look better, but do not submit this. It's right in the middle of the card. It was a Paul Skeens rookie auto too. And you're like, this is not, like, don't send this to them. Like, it's not going to get better. It's probably going to get worse. They were probably generous giving you the 9 they gave you, it was like,
it happens.
And
he got a 10.
No. I think I cracked it out and sold it raw.
Nice.
That's what we do in the hobby. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we're here for each other.
You had the tool.
Yeah,
I mean, part of it is people think it's the easiest thing in the world. And, if you get good at it, you get good at it. But, I see people I saw one guy trying to crack a PSA slab, just crack it like this. And, they make them breakaway now. You really,
I've got a new and better tool as well. So you'll see it at the Fan Fest. It's a very small and it's amazing. I can't wait to bring it to market. But I want
somebody who cracks cards. By the way, I mean, I do it a lot, and I do it I got a needle nose plier, and I clip the corners off, and then I'm work a screwdriver in, and I'm really careful. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I gotta buy the tool. It was the easiest thing in the world. It was clip, clip, clip. It was like clipping toenails, and boom, the card is out. I was like, holy shit! Why do I not have 4 of these?
Yeah, and I can't wait to bring it to market, and it's going to be really cool. The one thing everybody does wrong is they try to start from the top, and you got to flip it upside down, and it's a much more efficient way to jailbreak.
Everybody goes to the top because it's further away from the card. They think that they have a little bit of extra mistake, a little wiggle room.
Well, they the way it's done is it's a this is the bottom, and the top kind of goes over like this. So you want to start from the bottom to release the top.
See? Look at this already. He knows what he's talking about. Start from the bottom to release the top.
Start from the bottom. Now we're here.
It sounds like a wrap.
I want to go back to that survey real quick.
Shoot.
Because there's an element that people are missing. So, as you know, PSA has increased their card grading rate, 20% each of the past couple of months. In the 1.1 to now I think 1.4 million cards per month. 70% of that is Pokemon. Okay,
and Beckett was doing 7,000 Pokemon, and PSA was doing 1 million.
It's insane. It's insane. But they're not only Kurt.
SGC did 7,000. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Beckett did 33,000. Not as much more. Go ahead.
Yeah. Listen. Not only is is Kurt showing what he's showing on with Pokemon, but also there's guys more Sidious than him, like Pokemaster Center and other guys on deep parts of the interweb, directed at Pokemon. And I think PSA is taking Pokemon real seriously now. I think they, with Neo, who's more of a on the Pokemon side than sports side, him releasing, him kind of starting the chain of the release of the with him starting the chain of the release of the survey. I think PSA was really fishing to see, how much reaction it would get, and how many people were interested. And I don't think they're interested in doing that service at all. I think they wanted to see, if how many people in the community were really looking for it. I have a feeling that with the increase of Pokemon sales, that they've had a lot of kickbacks of altered Pokemon cards where people think that they're restoring them. Right. And I think their PSA is just getting crushed in messaging of what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do.
It's funny. After post, this was today's episode for me. After posting it, the most common message I got from DM is, I would pay to have them do that to my card. I hate sitting there with a microfiber cloth and the card on my lap, and because not everybody has the professional setup, you know what I mean? Not everybody has what you have. You got the light, by the way, guys, I will tell you, if you see him at National, maybe look at it. Forget about that. It's like going to a mad scientist too. He's got my barber wears it. It's like an apron. He's got the whole, like a surgeon. You got the whole get up on, it should be Dr. Minty. But you got to go to med school because you can't call yourself doctor in hobby unless you went to med school.
Yeah.
But it's a legit operation. It's like, here you go. Here's the problem. They graded a 9 here. Look right here. This is why it was a 9.
It is. And, it's all about the time value money, right? We're here to help collectors in real time make and save money. I have tons of clients that, buy all day. They're, big tech CEOs in New York and Silicon Valley, and they can buy all day, but they don't have time to go through their cards, and they're glad to send them to me and pay me to do the heavy lifting. And we're happy to do the heavy lifting for anybody, whether they, don't want to do it or too nervous to, or just want to trust an expert.
I got a DM today saying I would pay for it because I use the microfiber. Sometimes I gotta put a little, little liquid on it because gotta get the boogers off the car. I mean, someone actually said like boogers on the car. I was like,
dude,
boogers on the car.
In San Diego, when I guess this was 01, when Mac Jones was the guy, his NFL shield came to my table, and there was a booger on the side of the card, like insane. It was the grossest thing I've ever seen. So I took a picture.
I guess it happens.
Yeah.
Maybe that was my guy with the boogers on the cars. Maybe that's his thing. Who the hell knows? So, national, you won't have a table.
Nope.
People
collectors can find me. We'll set up private. We're setting up private meetings at the Hyatt.
Okay. So you guys can message Mr. Minty, and he's at the Hyatt across the street, which is cool. And I'm sure you'll be walking the floor and helping people out and all that other fun stuff.
Kissing babies,
Kissing babies, nice. Yeah. Punching Kurtz, it's gonna be great. All right, so I'm gonna put you in charge. We'll wrap it up. I'm gonna put you in charge of the national. Like you're in charge. It's now called the Mr. Mint National. Everything's green everywhere. It's mint green. The whole branding, you name it, it's gonna be fantastic. It smells like mint. By the way, don't plant mint. I did it in my backyard. It takes over everything.
Really? Okay. Good to know.
National, if Mr. Minty was in charge, it would just take over everything. Yeah, no cucumbers, no peppers, no nothing. Mint just very invasive. Anyway, so
you need it for mojitos, though.
I have more mint. My whole block could have mojitos. They could have mint juleps. They could have mint in their tea. There's so much mint. I don't know what to do with it. But my poor neighbor bought the house, and he showed me, oh, look at the garden I'm planting. And over here, it's weird. I didn't plant this. There's mint growing here. It's right where my fence meets his, and it's growing under the fence, and now he's getting mint. It's crazy. Anyway, you're in charge of the national. One thing that they do so well that you are not going to get rid of, that you got to keep, you name it. And one thing you would ask them to maybe add, and then maybe they can do it next year. I'll put you on the spot with this, right? I don't want to take your answer away, but you could steal mine also. Sure. My one thing that I love like the museum style, like that, bringing the auction houses, because they always bring really cool stuff in, like Heritage, Robert Edwards. They bring even stuff that they're not selling, that they just put it on display for people, because that still maintains sort of this museum type of thing that you just don't get anywhere else. You want to take a picture with a Honus Wagner or the Mickey Mantle SGC 9.5 that sold for 8 figures. Like, that's a cool thing that you're able to do that. That would be mine. Please feel free to steal that.
I mean, you totally stole mine. I didn't even think about that. It's rare that I've been able to walk around and see it. Detroit was the Cleveland tomato.
Same shit.
I mean,
they're like right next to each other, right?
It was like close to the end of the show when I discovered that part of the show where like Golden was and all that cool stuff, and I was like, oh, I completely missed this. I think the breaker pavilions are super cool. It's such an important part of the hobby now. Yep. I think they do the autograph guests incredibly well. Just the signing power that's there, just the athletes and the who's who and who's there is just, it's unbeatable, and I that's really cool.
Yeah.
So what's one thing that you would change?
Ooh, you're gonna put me on the spot for one thing that I would change. Yeah. Man, I mean, listen, I actually like the Rosemont area. I didn't go to Cleveland last year just because I didn't want to stay in a hotel like 5 years away from it. I like that it's sort of like in a contained unit there. I would change it. I would have it at Chicago like every year if I could. But I heard, recently, like I think we're talking about like 2028. It's going to be like, who knows? Maybe Atlanta is on the board and that kind of stuff. I mean, what would I change? Man, I would. I don't know how you do this, but I would try to like rotate. Try to get new people in there. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like a term limit kind of thing. And I know that's very difficult to do, right? Because you gotta pay homage to the old men like me, right? And you gotta let these guys in. They've been paying for their table forever, but there are some tables that's just I'll pass them like there's no one there ever. They're not selling anything.
Yeah, they got the same stuff that they did last year. Like
Yeah.
the VHSs and pennants and things like
Yeah.
burned DVDs of
The same stuff they had at their table in the 90s.
Rod Guidry's second win, like
Right. Ron Guidry's booger.
yeah, like
Exactly. It's a Louisiana Lightning.
yeah,
like that kind of stuff. No, but
it's,
I would say this if I could, and maybe they are working on this, I guess
they
we'll
are,
see.
they are,
But
they recognize it.
what I would say is I would try. I think they did a great job. Break a pavilion, break a pavilion. The corporate area, corporate area. I think if they could, they should try to make people have to designate what type of a table they are. And if you're more vintage than anything else, you say you're vintage. And there's an area for dealers who call themselves vintage. And I know that's tough, right? Because, there are dealers who have half vintage, half modern, you name it. But I think that would make it a lot easier from an experience side. Like I would know this is the area I'm probably going to find my vintage baseball stuff. Here's the, modern, maybe even by sport, right? I'm mostly basketball, mostly, whatever.
It's a mishmash for sure.
Because row 400, I'm in here. Where are you? I don't know. You can tell somebody I'll buy the vintage, that section,
It's a great idea. I'd like to see more Pokemon personally.
All right.
No, I'm just kidding.
Is it because you like Pokemon cards or you like Pokemon influencers?
No, I'm just kidding, being irreverent. I think the food situation could improve for sure.
By the way, that's definitely true. And in Chicago, there's some good food there.
Yeah, outside the show, not like
can't we bring like Portillo's into the show?
So good, so good.
Yeah.
Listen, it's such a great show. It's hard to like find things bad to say about it, because it's like it's awesome. It's the lifeblood of our hobby. It's great, and hopefully it's going to be here for a long, long time. I think there does need to be some modernization going on because, as one collector put it, this is the National. It's supposed to be, the Ferrari of our of our hobby. And if somebody outside of the hobby came in and saw, Cleveland, they walked in and saw like a popcorn stand to the left and a guy selling, 1980s Mark McGuire's that are 12 cents for $5, they'd be like, what the hell did I walk into?
Listen, you never know what sells. The last Philly show I went to, there was a guy selling fudge. And it was good fudge. Like, let's go. I got some fudge. Let's go. I got some fudge. It's like a Andrew Dice Clay routine.
I think that's the gap between the National and Fanatics Fest is that they, it's just the modernization and the interactiveness of the hobby in one versus just selling in another.
Fanatics Fest, completely different experience, completely different show. Yeah. And if you don't like wrestling, you might not like Fanatics Fest. So that's part of it also. I'm
a wrestling fan myself.
You like wrestling. You like the wrestling. Yeah, I love your suggestion about the food. We maybe have some more garbage cans and that kind of stuff. I would say this as we head to the road to the National and we wrap up our road to the National, Mr. Minty. One of the great things about the National is the on-site grading. Yes. And the ability to take advantage of the on-site grading. So if you're listening to this,
that's why I'm there to help.
You're preparing for the National, either there on site or now as you have these, these several weeks leading up to the National, where can they find your products so that they can start prepping to bring cards to the National and grade them there?
Fantastic. I appreciate you asking. Everyone can go to mrminty.com, where we have a great selection of products and also our prep and submission services. We'll be taking in orders for collectors to send to us to prepare, for the national, for prior to the national as well. And you can also find me at Mr. Minty_supply on all the socials.
There you go. There we go. And there's an episode of Road to the National with Mr. Minty. Hope you guys enjoyed it. He'll be at Fanatics Fest if you want to drop some cards off with him to bring to the National for you. If you're going there, you can do that too. And he'll be at the National. Send him a DM, meet up with him. It's crazy to watch him work. It really is. I mean, it's crazy to watch him work. Just clip, toenail of the card right off. Boom, boom, boom. Take the card out, clean it up. Get the whole little magnet.
And it's totally safe too. Yeah. I have all my fingers.
Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.